internet, that geek redhead here. I come to you from sunny Shropshire with some stuff to show you. I've just come from Birmingham. In fact, I've just come from the biggest Transformers convention in all of Europe. I can't keep the accent up. I'm gonna have a bunch of brummies come after me for making fun of them. But in all seriousness, I have returned from TF Nation, which takes place in Birmingham, has just taken place in Birmingham, sorry, over this weekend. And it is in fact the biggest Transformers convention in Europe. And I didn't even know it existed until a few months ago, and I was like, I'm sorry, what? I could have been coming to this all the time? I didn't have to go all the way to Boston for BotCon. So yeah, it was my first one. I did have a good time, with the one exception of, unfortunately, Scott McNeil was supposed to be one of the visitors, and I paid for a Legend pass for him. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it due to medical reasons, and we wish him well. I hope he gets better, and I hope he receives the little guest book that they put out for him. I wasn't being nosy, but I couldn't help but notice pages upon pages of well wishes from fans. So Scott, I hope you get better, hope you feel better, and I hope I see you next year for the 30-year anniversary of Beast Wars. Right, okay, now that I have just revealed how old I am, I'm going to share with you my haul. I only went for one day because I didn't know what I was in for. Been to a few Comic-Cons, but obviously they were just Comic-Cons, but this is the first specific niche thing that I've been to. And I did have a good time despite Scott not being there, but I did, however, still get the print that came with the Legend Pass, which is very cool. It was very cool of them, but also, yeah. So we've got here, I do recognise the artist, I cannot for the life of me remember the name, however. I'll look it up and put a link in the description. But yeah, very cool indeed, except for this guy. Oop, don't reveal anything like that on the internet. So we've got Transmetal Rat Trap, obviously because they're the same time as this guy. But yeah, that's cool. I can see that they obviously left a bit here for him to sign, but again, next year, inshallah. So that was what I would have gotten with the Legend Pass, and I would have kept this very cool souvenir thing, which I obviously am keeping. But yeah, I'm going to keep hold of that, and again, wish him well. So that's that. So there were three main parts of the Traders Hall, which was the main big room where all of the stuff was happening. That was what I was mostly excited for. They had all of the, official merch vendors in the middle, mostly Transformers obviously, but there was also some Gundam stuff. I saw some Star Trek memorabilia, He-Man and various other crossover things that Transformers have never done. They had all of the guest panels on the far side of the room, so you had Michael Evan Lee, would have been Scott McNeil, a few others placed around, and those were obviously, for signings for the general public, versus the Legend Pass, where you could have gone into a room and had slightly more one-on-one time and gotten a photo with the person. And then closest to the door, which is what I was very excited for, was all of the artist vendors, which would have been the equivalent of Artist Alley in MCM Comic Con at least. So that's what I was very excited for, and I really had to pace myself with buying stuff because be good. So I did manage to just get a few bits and bobs, including two very cool prints of the Maximals and the Predacons. Sorry, you can't see it here, but I will attempt to take a decent photo or find the artist online, which I will do. Put a link in the description of this. So I've got the Maximals there, all of the Maximals in a really cool style, which I really do like, and all of the Predacons. So not just season 1, but they do have their season 1 designs, because obviously you've got Depth Charge there and Silverbolt. They only showed up in later seasons. Same with Quick Strike and Ravage. What am I talking about? Rampage. Ravage isn't on here. He doesn't count. So those are my two art prints that I allowed myself to have, and you'll see why, because the budget went elsewhere. And I got some cool stickers as well. Actually, I forgot to mention, the first thing I saw when I turned right, the very first piece of art I saw was Jetstorm from Beast Machines, and I was like, representation for Beast Machines, excellent. before anyone comes at me, it's not that bad, but it's also not great. So yeah. I know. I have a soft spot for it, but I didn't when I first watched it. I get it, trust me. So I got some cute Tigertron and Airazor sticker there. I don't stick stickers on things. I have a little corkboard above my display thing that I put things on, because then I'm so indecisive. I never know where to put them. I got Waspinator with a crown. Look how cute. He deserves it. He's a king. Megatron in the bathtub. Okay, FYI, most of my stuff is Beast Wars related, with the exception of two things. First thing, I got Knockout. Love Knockout. And yeah, those are the stickers I got. And that was the artist portion, with the exception of one other thing, but I'm not going to put on here because I'm sending it to somebody and I don't want them to see what I've got. Woo, cool. So, my other haul, I have been collecting the season 1 Maximals, at least, from the Kingdom line, because they are the most affordable, show accurate figures that I could find. And I was like, hey, so I have all the season 1 Maximals, I'm happy. And then I was like, I need the Predacons. And I've just kind of been looking online for things like that. But then I thought, since I'm coming here, let's see if they've got them. They do. And I got my first Predacon. Yeah! I got Waspinator. Funny that he's in the Kingdom series as opposed to League or whatever the other ones are, because he's not in Kingdom. But hey, he's there, he's Waspinator, and he is mine now! Yeah! My first Predacon. So I need to make space. I don't have space, but it's fine, I'll make it work. So I'll be opening him at home once I get back, because I am currently enjoying, I don't know if you can hear it, I'm right next to a weir. I am sitting on the River Severn. It's beautiful here. Oh, I'm sorry, I lied. I got my first 2 Predacons. I couldn't help getting Megatron as well. They were, contrary to my previous experience, they were actually a lot cheaper. Well, they were cheaper at the con than they were online, especially when you consider things like shipping. There's a lot of the Kingdom line, now that it's been a few years, you can really only get shipped from the States, and the shipping's almost as much as the figure. So yeah, these were the main 2. They did have others, but not the ones that appeared in the show, either Kingdom or Beast Wars, and I was only really interested in the Beast Wars show characters, because I'm fussy that way. But yeah, Megatron's got quite a bit of weight to him. He's obviously the biggest figure, I think, in the series. The only exception I can think of are maybe Dinobot and Rhinox, but I don't have them with me to compare. And I didn't think to do that at the con because there were quite a few loose Kingdom items. So those were my 2 new in-box purchases. But then I also got some, oh my goodness, before I get onto that, the Traders Hall was massive. It was really big, and there were at least like 20 tables, big ones. Obviously they had these, new ones with, they look like shop vendors, fair enough. But then when you got a little further to the back or just on the outside, you just had stuff everywhere. You'd have loose bits, figures from all continuities, and lots of these traders had bins where you could just kind of dig through and kind of see what they've got in bags, and they were either individually priced, saying complete or missing various other bits and pieces, or you could just say, how much for this guy? And it was great. I saw things from the Bay movies, I've seen things from Prime, from Animated. I was so tempted to get a Transformers Prime RC, but she was a little bit too expensive, and also I had already blown through my budget by the time I got to it, because my focus was Beast Wars. And oh my god, I have never seen so many Beast Wars figures in one place. I'm so happy. So I've been to cons before. The very first Comic Con I ever went to, I was on the lookout for Beast Wars stuff, or even Transformers stuff. I found one Rat Trap from, I think it was the Reproduction 96 line, and it was so expensive. I just kind of went, and then I went onto the internet, because that's what we do these days. But going in there, it looked like it would have been back in the day, just going through what they had, and it was great. In fact, one of the shops, which, hang on, I'll show who they are, because the Space Bridge, which I think is a great name. They're based in New Milton, wherever that is, somewhere on the south coast, and they had, I'd say, the widest range, not necessarily the most stuff, but definitely the widest range of stuff. They had all sorts. They had things from Beast Machines, Beast Wars, Transformers Armada, Energon. I think they had a few of the base stuff. They even had some GoBots and a few of those crossover things. I think they were the stall that had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles He-Man crossover, or maybe it was another shop. But they definitely had Pretender Transformers, which I had forgotten existed. But there you are. But moving on to my second non-Beast Wars thing, which I held in my hands for a good 3 minutes, kind of looking at it. And one of the vendors came over and he said, "Oh, do you need some help?" And I'm looking at him going, "I'm just deciding whether I..." And I was kind of doing that, and he said, "How about I sweeten the deal?" So he gave me a £5 off. And I got this guy. Look at him. He's massive. I have no idea where I'm going to put him, but I don't care. He looks great. He doesn't transform, but he does something, because he's got a little switch on his back, which did... Okay, I have no idea what it's supposed to do, but the blades do something. When I was fiddling with it on the train yesterday, this bit of the top came out and there was a bit of fire here, but I've put it in its reset position, and now I don't know how to get them back out. Oh, there we go, there's one. So his Energon blade comes out, but as for the fire behind it, no idea. It's probably got something to do with that. I might read the instructions that have come with it, but as for that, I have no idea, not a clue. His mask does move a little. I don't know if you can see that, it kind of goes up and down. I'm not brave enough to try and yank it off. I can see his mouth, but I also don't want to break it. But yeah, I got Transformers Animated Optimus Prime Season 3. How many seasons did they have before they cancelled it? This is the one where he gets his upgrades and he becomes chunkier Prime. So yeah, I've got David Kay's Optimus Prime. Yes. Speaking of which, I have got, this is I believe, a 90, I think this might be a 98 model. I have no idea. Whenever somebody was asking me, "Oh, is that a thingy line you've got in you? Is that a Voyager class, Clone class?" I'm like, But yeah, I've got this Megatron because, again, I saw him and I was like, oh, I held him. I was like, do I want him? I've held on to him for more than 2 minutes. I obviously want him. The guy at the counter was saying, yeah, so he's missing a piece. Oh wait, no he isn't. I was like, excellent. No instructions with him, however, but the guy did tell me this is a water pistol. You probably can't see it, but there is a hole. So yeah, I've got Megatron water pistol. I'm sure somebody in the comments can tell me where this has come from. He can transform because I can see that's his chest plate there, and there are many hinges. And yeah, I'll figure something out. So I don't know if you can use the water pistol in beast mode or if it has to be in robot mode. But again, I'm too nervous to do anything just yet. As my thing in the past is when I buy figures that come in beast mode, the masterpieces, for example, Cheetor, Optimus Primal and Tigatron, I would just transform, I'd figure them out myself. But I did have the instructions there should I need them. I didn't use them because I managed, but with this guy, he just kind of, he opens up. This isn't an unboxing transforming video. Oh my goodness. Look at his, hang on. Sorry, I'm going to put him back in a second, but look at his face. He's got he's got a helmet type thing, which looks like it does come out. Ugh. But again, I'm not going to do this because I can't actually see very well, because it's rather bright here, which is new for the UK. In fact, I think we've got another heat wave coming. Yay! Uh-oh. There we go. But yeah, I might just keep him in beast mode because I don't have any of my figures in beast mode because I like their robot modes. But this guy looks really nice. This isn't, with all due respect, this is not super show accurate with the exception of the colours, but this guy at the very least doesn't have any pupils. So those are my figures. But my favourite haul, which again came from these guys, Space Bridge, in order to save on waste and also just repurposing and giving new love to figures that are broken or damaged, the guy who owns it, his wife, has been turning these discarded pieces into jewellery. And the second I saw these, I had to have them. Check them out. It's Transmetal Cheetor's head things. So if you look at the back, there are his spotty hands, and they're a pair of earrings. I love that. She also had Transmetal Megatron's wheel fans. She had some Bumblebee heads, all sorts. It was amazing. Again, budget. I just stuck to these because I really wanted these ones. But what's quite fun, because this is part of the figure, they do technically fit together. Look at him. Now these aren't articulated, so they are fixed, but what a clever idea that is. And now I've got some Beast Wars earrings that I haven't made myself. Do you like them? I also made this t-shirt I've had for a few years, and this little lapel pin, because I was determined to be, I was determined to be Beast Wars representation, you know, but turns out that wasn't necessary because there was loads of Beast Wars stuff. I was so happy. Yeah. In fact, unfortunately, I didn't get a picture of him because he walked past me while we were in the sort of entry hallway while I was taking a break because my legs are killing me. There was a man dressed as Dinobot. I was like, ah! But unfortunately, he kind of left early, and then he was disrobing because I think something went wrong with his costume, which is a pity. But I was like, yay! I will, however, show a picture. And if I move to this side, my favourite costume that I saw that day, Transformers Animated Shockwave with the Blur Cube. That was excellent. That was the only, apart from, as I said, the aforementioned Dinobot, that was the only full-on cosplay that I saw. It got really bright all of a sudden. I looked like a ghost. That was the only full-on costume that I saw. Everybody else was, apparently they call it something. They were cosplay inspired. You know, there were lots of dresses and suits. For example, I saw an Optimus Prime inspired sort of petticoat type thing with the, I want to say, Japanese maid outfit type things here. Pretty cool. I didn't get too many pictures of either the con or any costumes or cosplays that I saw because I was so engrossed. My knees are not good, but I spent a lot of time on my knees on those bins kind of digging through, which is how I found TFA Optimus and the Water Pistol Megatron. But yeah, I did have a really good time. I'm definitely going back next year. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do the entire weekend because I only went on one day and there were only certain panels available. One of which was with a comic book writer and an artist. I'll put the names up here, which was pretty interesting. I had no idea who they are because I'll be honest, I don't read comic books because there's just so much there's so much to keep up with. But I have a friend for that. I just ask her, hey, what happened in this continuity? And then 45 minutes later, I have my answer. That is no disrespect to my friend. She just gets really into it and she knows her stuff. So that's what I mean by that. She will give me the backstory because I'm just going, huh? But yeah, in terms of why, I'm not sure how I'm going to do it next year because I am planning on a costume. But given how packed it was the Saturday that I went, I don't know how that's going to work, but I will be there because this happens in August. For the 30th anniversary. I believe it released in, I want to say November, but I'm not sure. But I do want to debut the costume at maybe MCM Comic Con. Although I have learned that TF Nation do a mini con in Reading, which is so much closer to me. Why did I come all the way to Birmingham? Your company in Birmingham's a long bloody way away. I sound like Lister from Red Dwarf. But yeah, thanks for listening to my rambling. I understand it wasn't terribly interesting just watching me go, look what I bought, even though it wasn't that much. It's because I spend so much time just looking around and then spending an hour on the floor like that while I had my lunch. But yeah, I had a good time. Once again, Scott McNeil, I hope you feel better soon. We missed you, and we hope to see you next year. Everybody else who was at the con, let me know. See if I walked past you, if any of you were the costumes or cosplayers or costume wearers that I saw, let me know. And yeah, I will see you at some point, I'm sure, because I do have something in the works.